Are you wondering about what life is like in Loma Linda, California? It may be one of those places that you've heard of, but you're not quite familiar with. Perhaps you may be coming to town. There's a whole lot of people who are recruited to Loma Linda University, its hospital, and all the surrounding opportunities associated with just this tiny little community right in the heart of the Inland Empire. But I'd venture to guess that not everybody is too familiar with Loma Linda itself, where it's located, its proximity to bigger areas in Southern California as a whole. So basically that's what we're going to do. Just in a few seconds here, we're going to jump into my computer, hop on Google Maps, and I'm going to point you in the direction of what I think would be your starting points just in terms of daily living, right? We're going to get into probably where you should travel in and out of, where you'd most likely be staying, what your options are in terms of eating, right? Going out to eat, grabbing a bite. If you're actually living there, where you're going to be doing most of your shopping. And in some cases, living in Loma Linda, probably where you're going to be traveling to get some of your daily needs and services met. It's a rather smaller community, so you may have to do some traveling outside of Loma Linda in terms of perhaps some big box shopping or perhaps some entertainment options. While Loma Linda is a very unique and wonderful little community, it does have some drawbacks that you should probably be aware of before you settle in and plant some roots here in Loma Linda. All right, let's jump inside my computer and take a look. Okay, here we are in my computer. Just opened up Google Maps. See that red line there? That outlines the city of Loma Linda, California, just south off the 10, very close to Grand Terrace, very close to Redlands, very close to San Bernardino. Small little community wedge right in between all these cities. So big picture, Loma Linda, you can still see outlined in red here, is in the Inland Empire here in Southern California, perhaps an hour and a half from downtown Los Angeles, depending on when you're coming and going. About an hour from the coast if you're headed to the beach. Somewhere in Orange County, not too bad of a day trip to head to the beach from Loma Linda. If you're a mountain person, Big Bear is, it's not that much mileage, but getting up the mountain takes a little bit more time, probably more like an hour 15. You also have Lake Arrowhead as well if you're a mountain person and wanting to explore more in the mountains. Loma Linda is pretty much just directly north of San Diego. Beautiful city if you've never been. Great place to visit. If you can afford to live in San Diego, even better, but definitely an option if you are in and around Loma Linda. That's going to take you about an hour and a half, maybe close to 2 hours, depending on when you're coming and going to San Diego. Palm Springs, if we come back up north here, is pretty much directly a little bit south, but just hop on the 10 and you'll be on the 10 for maybe only 45 minutes to get out to Palm Springs. All kinds of entertainments, fun, golf courses, resorts, if that piques any of your interest. So as you can tell, very centrally located here in Southern California. Although the community itself is quite small, only just over 20,000 people, definitely in the melting pot of all these bigger cities, very close to Loma Linda, right? San Bernardino, definitely the biggest city close to Loma Linda. Riverside, not too far away. So all kinds of congestion, lots and lots of population. But if you can find a place to live in Loma Linda, it can be rather quiet and a rather peaceful existence, right? There's all kinds of communities right in here up against the foothills of these mountains that are quite nice. All right, let's just take a quick moment. If you would, please go ahead and hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video at all to this point. I would really appreciate it. And of course, please also subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I would really appreciate it. It would help YouTube know to put this video in front of more people like yourself who want to make informed decisions when it comes to buying or selling real estate. My name is Peter Kane. I work with Century 21 Lois Lauer, based out of Redlands. I am a local real estate agent. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you are beginning to look, and we can get the ball rolling. I've lived in Redlands for pretty much my entire life, so I am very familiar with the ins and outs of just the daily things about living here. I myself was born at Loma Linda. My wife actually works there. We are in and out of Loma Linda quite a bit as well. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, so if you are coming in to visit, to check out Loma Linda, or let's say a little bit later down the road, you have friends or family coming to visit you and they are flying in, probably your best bet is going to be to use Ontario International Airport. Okay, right here off the 10, much smaller than using LAX, right? Depending on where you're coming from, you might find cheaper flights flying into LAX. LAX is right over here on the coast down here, but that commute from LAX over to Loma Linda can get pretty hectic. Depending on when you're coming and going, I would think that whatever price you might save using LAX is probably not worth the agony of all the congestion, traffic that you'll just have to deal with. So first off, I would recommend Ontario Airport. You do have some other options after that. You have John Wayne Airport in Orange County. Over here, you also have Palm Springs Airport, a little bit smaller than Ontario, so you might not get as many flight options, but you have a good place to start with Ontario. And then also I've heard of, some people also even utilizing San Diego. Depending on where you're coming from, again, if it's further away, LAX or San Diego might make more sense. I would recommend San Diego, actually. A little bit longer to drive, but a much better experience at San Diego's airport than at LAX. Okay, now in terms of places to stay when you are visiting Loma Linda, actually in Loma Linda itself is rather small. You do have the Loma Linda Inn right here. Rooms are gonna be just about over $100, maybe 120, 125 bucks. Not very big, so I'm not quite sure if you will find availability there. You do have bigger hotels just on the other side of the 10 here in San Bernardino, and then as well as right here at the junction of the 210 and the 10 in Redlands. So you might have to venture out just a little bit outside of Loma Linda for a nice little hotel, but the Loma Linda Inn could suit you. You also have a decent amount of Airbnb type options. I was just poking around on their website. It's going to be a little bit more than $100, probably more starting at that $150 price range. And then depending on if, you have the entire house or if it's just a guest house or maybe even just a guest bedroom in somebody's house. So that's more of your personal preference, right? Hotel versus Airbnb, completely private Airbnb versus just a room. I'll let you figure that one out, but you won't have to stay too far if you're coming into town to visit Loma Linda. Okay, you've arrived to Loma Linda, you know where you're staying, now you are a bit hungry. Where's a good place to eat? The very first place that I would recommend is a little Italian restaurant called Napoli's. It's right off the freeway, right off the 10 at Tippecanoe. Actually, on this side of the 10, it's actually Anderson Street, but it's it's gonna look like perhaps Tippecanoe. But it's pronounced Tippecanoe. Right in here, Napoli Italian restaurant. Been there for decades at this point, at least 20, closer to 30, maybe even longer than that. Very good little Italian restaurant. Highly recommend. Not too expensive, right? Very good dishes, good wine. Definitely a place that you would enjoy coming in to visit Loma Linda. Now, another spot that is a bit newer than Napoli restaurant is called the Vegan District Asian Eatery. Now, this place is right off Barton Road. Barton Road is the main road that goes right through Loma Linda. There's Carl's Jr. It's right across from the driving range here. There it is. All kinds of really tasty plates. Huge population of Loma Linda residents are either vegetarian or completely vegan. And if you don't know too much about Loma Linda and its specific community, go ahead and check out this video as well. I did a few weeks back kind of gives you a brief overview of why Loma Linda is so unique in this kind of central part, even though it's, right in the middle of the rest of Southern California. It is quite unique. So a good little option there. And then as far as other places to eat, you can see all kinds of national brands, national chains, Starbucks all over the place, McDonald's, all that stuff. But those would be the first two places I would recommend you go and have a nice meal. Now, if you've already been there, or perhaps you want to try something else, perhaps you go to Mario's in close by Riverside. That'd be more of a fine dining experience, a little bit more expensive, but definitely a very good restaurant. If you go into Redlands, you have Caprice on State Street, and then you have Citron over on Citrus Avenue. But definitely some good options to eat here in Loma Linda. All right, now in terms of education, Loma Linda has quite a bit to offer. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital, it's medical school, it's dental school, Loma Linda Academy. Loma Linda itself all pretty much revolves around Loma Linda University and its hospital, right? So it's right here on Barton Road. Brand new part of the hospital was opened just not too long ago, only about 2 or 3 years ago. They still have the older part of the hospital as well. So they've expanded. People from all over Southern California, and especially kids, come to get treatment at Loma Linda University Children's Hospital. You definitely live close by, self-assured, right? That God forbid, if anything were to happen to you or your loved ones, you would be in very good hands. Now, if you have school-aged children, Loma Linda itself does not have its own school district, right? So if you are sending your kids to public school, you are going to be sending them to Redlands Unified School District. Right. So if they're in that elementary school age, they would be going to Bryn Mawr right here on the eastern part of Loma Linda. And then once they get into middle school, then they would be going to Cope Middle School. And then once they hit that high school age, they would be going to Redlands High School. So very, very high quality public and private education, right? A lot of the employees at Loma Linda will also send their kids to Loma Linda Academy, which is very close, just right on the other side of the train tracks here on Anderson. Loma Linda Academy, I'm pretty sure starts at kindergarten and goes all the way through high school. So all kinds of great education opportunities living in Loma Linda. If you're associated with the school or the hospital, you also have access to the Drayson Center, which is a great place to go and get a workout in. They have a huge swimming pool, a huge field. So you'll be very well taken care of in terms of your health and fitness options here in Loma Linda. Okay, now in terms of grocery shopping, you have a few options. The very first place that I would start with would probably be Stater Brothers, right? So again, Barton Road is the main drag here in Loma Linda. Here's the hospital, so just a little further east, right in the same little parking lot as Carl's Jr., you'll find Stater Brothers. If you're not familiar with Stater Brothers, Southern California, San Bernardino County, some Riverside County as well, but grocery store that's been around forever. Great grocery store. We used to live right behind one in Redlands. I would start there first. Then you also have right on the other side of Mountain View, you have Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods. So a little bit more pricey than just going to more of a regular type grocery store, but some specialty foods, some specialty supplements, medications, whole lot of options just in terms of a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. Again, Loma Linda is all about that healthy diets and healthy exercise and health lifestyle. So Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market, they're a little bit more pricey, but you can find some very specific things if you're looking for it. If you are a golf person, you have the Loma Linda driving range right here. It's definitely seen better days, but they used to have a putting green right here. We can chip and putt and whatnot. Not anymore. It's all, I don't know why this is green, because all this is just dirt. Golf balls are really, really old, but it's not too expensive. If you want to go and whack some golf balls, good place to do it. Go ahead and try and bust out the driver and hit the passing trains if you can. You're going to need to find a good golf ball to try and do that. All right, so there you have it, a virtual tour of the main things about living in Loma Linda, California. So that gives you basically an idea of where are your major points of interest would be living in California. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you are in the real estate market and looking to either buy or sell. The team and I would love to meet with you and help you through that process. Okay, if you want to learn even more about Loma Linda, I actually have another video about some of the more different aspects of Loma Linda. Go ahead and click that video on the screen right there now.